green flag flies as Tim George takes the lead. Hadley slots in. That is Charlie Hargraves, car number 74, battling it out with Billy George. George and Hargraves side by side for that third spot. George with a very nice jump. Hadley there as well. And there is the Rocket, Rodney Sizemore, the number 88. He slots in right behind George. That rounds out your top 5. Higgins pulls over. That is Rob Higgins in 65. And a tense situation there as we had contact and wheels off. From here, it does appear that Rob McAllister is involved. Flag flies once again. On the restart, it is Mike George. On the restart, Mike Hadley right behind him. Charlie Hargraves, Billy George. And the Rocket, Rodney Sizemore, subbing tonight in the number 88. George with the clear track in front of him. Hadley, Charlie Hargraves, Billy George. But already, Tim George, all he needed was a clear track, and he's already putting some distance between himself and the rest of the field. Tim George is your race leader, being followed by Hadley, Hargraves, George, and Sizemore. But Tim George, your race leader now. Hadley with about a half straightaway back, and then further back behind them are Hargraves, George, and Sizemore. So Tim George, a force to be reckoned with tonight in the number 4. George will lead this lap. 35 laps scheduled, and unless somebody can pull a rabbit out of their hat, George is very, very dominant at this early stage of the race. It is George and Hadley. George now with such a nice lead, he's actually going to encounter the back half of the field here in a few laps. 10 laps in the book. Tim George, Mike Hadley. Between the two of them now, they have about a straightaway advantage on the rest of the field. That's Charlie Hargraves. Charlie just 3 points behind Johnny Hargraves in the point standings. Your all-phase landscaping super modifieds. Tim George, your race leader. Ray Everett making contact with Rodney Smith down the backstretch in the back part of the field. And Baumgartner hits the markers as George goes by. So Baumgartner now with some definite handling problems after hitting the concrete markers. And Baumgartner is up high and slow as he tries to pull down to the center part of the track. Tim George is your race leader. Hadley now has pulled up. So here at lap 14, Hadley now has started to bridge that distance between himself and Tim George. So traffic may end up being a big factor in this race. Tim George now right behind Ray Everett. Everett in 40, 5 decades of racing here at the Speedrome. It is Everett, Smith, and Brickley at the rear of the field. Tim George has pulled up, and Hadley now will try and make a run as Hadley now tries to sneak inside and take away that runner-up position. Hadley now very, very, very close. Hadley and George went across the line side by side, but they're battling it out for the lead and traffic in front of them. George led that lap, but just by about a half fender width. As traffic definitely a factor, Hadley takes advantage of the fact that George had to check up. So, George and Hadley side by side. Hadley will lead But Hadley still has to get around traffic as George makes contact with Hadley. Hadley leads George, but they still have traffic right in front of them. That is Everett in 40, Brickley in 45, and Smith in 48. But Hadley has at least claimed the position of first. So Mike Hadley, just when it looked like George would run away from it, Hadley reeled him in, waited till he got into traffic, and then just went right on by. Mike Hadley, your race leader. Tim George right behind him. They're both stuck in traffic, but Hadley is still holding on very tightly to first spot. Lap 22 goes in the books. Hadley now impatient, lets Brickley know he's there. That allows George to pull alongside. So Brickley gets out of everyone's way. And Charlie Hargraves comes up and takes second away from Tim George. So Tim George just can't buy a break. Very dominant in the first part of this race. And now he drops to third as Hadley goes to work on Everett. It is Hadley, Charlie Hargraves, and Tim George. Charlie would like a win or a runner-up position. He needs the points. Hadley, Hargraves, and George. And now Billy George tries to take the lead away from Tim George. So Tim fighting handling problems now. Hadley still having trouble getting around Everett, but he's still maintaining the lead. Hadley would like to get around Everett just so Charlie Hargraves has to work too. So Hadley now makes a very bold move. Hargraves comes with him. So Everett moved up, let him go by. Hadley would have liked to come through solo, leave Hargraves behind, but Hargraves takes up the charge. 7 laps to go. Hadley now in command. Hargraves chases him down. Hargraves and Billy George second and third. And Rodney Sizemore, the Rocket, works his way up to fourth. So Tim George, who was so dominant early on, slips back to fifth. Hadley leads at the 30 lap mark, 5 to go for Hadley. Charlie Hargraves will try and run him down, and George will try and get around Hargraves. So they're definitely battling it out tonight. 4 laps to go. Mike Hadley. Laps to go for Mike Hadley as he slightly increases his lead over Charlie Hargraves. So Hadley with clear track in front of him, running a very smart race here tonight. 2 laps to go, and the tables turn. Early on, it looked like Tim George was absolutely unbeatable. Hadley got by him, and George now drops down into fifth. So Mike Hadley Jr. leads Charlie Hargraves, leads Billy George, leads Rodney Sizemore as Spike Brickley scrapes the wall and parks it, and the checkered flag comes out for Mike Hadley. Mike Hadley had a tremendous race, as not only did he get around Tim George, Mike Hadley.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen? One of the best super modified features of the year. Super modified features. Tonight on let's go down John Lebert's cafeteria. You can purchase yourself a gift card as we move to Victory Lane and Mike Hadley winning. He'll climb out of the car and he'll be able to hear you, ladies and gentlemen. He can't hear you yet. Hold on. Let him get out of the car. He can hear you now, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause for Michael Hadley Jr., your 35 lap super modified feature winner tonight at the Blossom Chevy Speedrome. Put that hat on there for you. John Lebert's Cafeteria Racing. Congratulations, what a race. We'll hold off some of the best racers here at the Speedrome Super Modified division.
Well, I don't really know what to say. I'm gonna just thank my sponsors, Walker's Auto Body, Tom Wood Pontiac, New Day Realty, Cornerstone, Yard Arm, and most of all, I like to thank Pappy with Troy Motors. If we didn't have him, I don't think I'd be here right now.
Congratulations. Like I was telling the folks, a $25 gift card to John the Bird's Cafeteria. Come down, get some great fried chicken, or perhaps our new espressos at JB's Express, maybe a boar's head meat sandwich. Congratulations. I know you got a lot of, it's a lot of fun to win and be in victory lane here in the Super Modified division. What are your thoughts so far about this division and what it means?
I like it, but I want to go late models.
Figure 8 racing's where it's at, right?
That's what I want to do.
All right, one more big round of applause. Mike Hadley Jr., your winner tonight in the Super Modified division, beating Charlie Hargraves and Billy George to the line for the victory. We'll continue now with the victory celebration. In the meantime, we need all cars for the Roadrunner feature. All cars for the Roadrunner feature to the pit gate. I need to know who's Speedrome proud right now. Who's Speedrome proud? Let me hear you. I can't hear you. Come on, get up. Come on, front stretch. Speedrome proud? How about over here now? This is a